Hey, Rob, Steve.
Oh, hiya. How are you?
Are you free to go away?
Where?
It's a job. It's kind of a tour. Really good restaurants.
Why me?
Misha can't come and I don't want to go alone. I've asked other people, but they're all too busy. So, do you want to come? Should be 2 rooms under the name Coogan.
We only have 1 double room.
What do you think's going to happen?
You might touch my bottom.
Were you an altar boy?
All right, talking about the trip. Reminds me a lot of me and you, Leon.
Really?
Yes.
No, I was thought maybe this was that movie Trippin' with the kid was on the Cosby Show.
There's no black people in this. No, this movie reminds me of you and I a lot. It's
not being black people.
Yeah, other than that not being black people. But if there were, this movie would be you and I. It's about a man who has to take a trip and calls all of his friends to go, and nobody's available, so he just calls one guy who's not doing anything that he
obviously isn't
reluctantly
doing jack
does
shit.
reluctantly doesn't want to take. He's,
Wait, okay. Where's the you and me part?
Saying that you would be his absolute last choice.
I know, that's what it sounds like. Clearly, I would have nothing going on in my life.
Yeah, and nobody's made a movie about it.
Leon, he's all right. But
The movie should have been the fact that you had nothing going on in your life. Therefore,
and I was the last one on the list. Like,
now, if it
everybody
makes
else
you
is busy.
if it makes you feel any better, you would be the first guy that I would call. This is after all the girls have said no. So yeah, that's some.
That's a long list.
Yeah.
that's kind of a scary list. After all the girls are gone, like, well,
Let's see.
Every girl I know.
I got Leon.
Why don't you come along?
Damn, girl, you were the.
I'm not sucking your dick. You don't have to do that. I mean, you can, but you don't have to.
strongly encouraged.
Yeah. I mean, you'll fall asleep at some point.
Yeah,
so I'll get mine.
Ain't no ride for free.
Just use your hand. That's all. I know. It's after I've called the last fat chick on the list. Damn, girl, you were the last fat chick I've called on this list, so you can't go. Yeah, hello. Shit, you weren't doing nothing anyway.
Today is your lucky day.
I was about to put a chicken fried steak in there somewhere, but you missed out.
Even Leon, you pull up in front of his house, you go, ask her, ask her cash.
Yeah. But you know something? This movie here, it's an interesting film. It is truly, and for us in America, it is truly an indie art house film. Now you have 2 people in this film one that I know very well, one guy I don't know of, and a lot of people in America probably don't. We all have seen Steve Coogan in several films. I mean, he's hit mainstream.
Boy, they want us to like him.
I know.
Hey, man, he
has a great agent.
He did a lot to get Owen Wilson hooked on drugs. So
I applaud.
That's right. He did say Steve did it.
At least made him interesting.
he's like, hey, man, I'm just a guy out to party. It's not my fault he can't handle his shit.
It's like that commercial where like Owen Wilson's dad came in. He's like, "Where'd you get this from?" No, who gave you this? Steve Coogan did, okay? It was Steve. No, Steve
I
Coogan.
couldn't trust that line.
Yeah, no, it was Steve.
He
Steve
was the one
Coogan.
starting all those riots, man.
But, yeah?
It's all him. You can see him in the still
Hey,
photography.
man, you know what? Right now, Steve Coogan can say, like, look, you don't have to love me, but I'm not Russell Brand. Come on. You got to give me that.
Hell, I say that.
Actually, Russell Brand is kind of cool these days. I mean, he's so, have you read any of his tweets? He's so eloquent. But,
and those 140 characters, he's like Shakespeare.
Yeah, he's a short dose guy. If he went 141 characters, then you'd be going like, man, fuck this guy.
Who's going to be not surprised when it turns out he's paying someone else much more clever to write those?
Okay, I don't care about that guy. I want to make it through this review. Seriously, it's a fucking trip. It's about to turn into a fucking trip.
This is the trip.
I am tripping.
Yeah, this is like the Greyhound trip right now.
Steve Coogan and his friend.
Yeah,
who's his friend?
Actor Rob Brydon. Who now you might have a lot of Americans haven't seen this guy. You might have seen him in Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, or if you watch British TV, you might have seen him in Little Britain. But a lot of Americans don't know him. We know Steve Coogan more.
See, the
than
fat one or the skinny one on Little Britain?
Not the fat one. I can tell you that much.
Okay.
He was in Coffee and Cigarettes, right?
I don't know. Steve Coogan is the one that was in Coffee. And
Oh,
Cigarettes.
okay.
Okay. So, yeah, these pretty much have a film here where you got these guys playing parodies of themselves. So,
are they playing their character? Like, I mean, are they called Steve Coogan? And
they are. This is a mockumentary with these 2 guys playing themselves.
Okay.
As I said, parodies of themselves. The premise of it is that Steve Coogan gets a job from this popular newspaper, The Observer, and they said, "We want you to be our celebrity food critic, and just for a few days, travel the Lake District up in northern England, and just write about some of the restaurants along the way." Steve Coogan has a girlfriend, Misha, who has decided that they need to take a break. you know, we're not doing too well. Maybe we need some time apart. And Steve Coogan was going to take her on this trip. And so he's
damn.
fuck, man. It's let me call all my friends. It turns out that nobody wants to go with Steve Coogan except his last choice, Rob Brydon. Now, a lot of critics have been crazy about this film because it is sort of there's a lot of subtleties here. It's not like your average road trip movie. It's supposed to be this message about, one guy, Steve Coogan, who's still kind of aloof, kind of insecure in his mid to late 40s. His career isn't going where it wants to go. And then you got Rob Brydon, who domesticated, wife, child, little baby, and he's satisfied with this career. People are recognizing him all around on the street and everything too. And they're like, hey, they don't notice Steve Coogan, but like, hey, Rob Brydon, do that imitation, that show you do on TV. So you're getting this whole thing of two guys who have entered middle age, and one is very comfortable with himself at this point in his life, and this other guy is still not quite there. But what really makes this movie work is that you expect these two guys to be like friends by the end, like close friends, closer than they were before. There's some camaraderie that developed. They've developed the closeness they didn't have before. And Steve Coogan is kind of an asshole in this, to the point where they just cannot connect at all through this trip. And it's not because they have a lot of arguments. It's not because they're not getting along. It's just that they just can't find anything in common, and it's almost uncomfortable to watch.
I'm still trying to figure out why this is like you and Leon.
Only the part where I said I would, after all the chicks have ran out, he'd be my first guy choice.
We have ridden in a car together, so that's pretty much
a block or two.
where he's like, "Get the fuck out of my car!"
I know. We get 2 blocks. Get the fuck out of my car, nigga! God damn it, man! I can't
you
take
Imogene
this.
You ain't paying for this air condition. Get out of here.
Roll down the windows.
I know.
Damn.
Give me $1 for some gas. We just went 2 blocks. Give me $1. I want some Fritos. But you can see that there's a competitiveness there too, because they are known for, these guys are known for doing impressions, I guess. Steve Coogan, I didn't know that much, but they're sitting around, and one of the highlights of the film that you'll hear played over and over again anytime you hear anybody on the radio or television talking about this is that, and it's a very funny scene, they do a Michael Caine off. They both compared notes about who can do the best Michael Caine. And it's actually funny. And that's where you can see this mild tension between these two guys. Where the movie loses me is that this movie is about 2 hours long.
Jesus Christ.
It feels like you were riding in the car with two guys who
don't really like each other, but don't hate each other.
Yeah, and it's like
who aren't really doing much of anything.
Could have been on a real trip.
Yeah, and it's interesting. And I know, and like I said, I know critics are loving this, and I do appreciate it for our subtleties. You have to pay attention to see the dynamic that's going on.
So is it mainly just a conversation?
A lot of it's conversation over dinner. I mean, you can, and again, you have to observe, because Steve Coogan is ordering different things, never satisfied with what he gets, and not really being a dick, but just sitting there I don't know about this.
So it's no planes, trains, and automobiles.
No. And then Rob Brydon is up there. He's ordering scallops every trip they take, and just happy to be just fucking alive. But the movie repeats a pattern. They arrive to a town. Steve Coogan hits on some chick. Maybe has sex. Maybe he doesn't. He questions his life, calls his girlfriend. They eat dinner. You like the Rob Brydon guy a little bit more. They go out the next day. They do the same thing again.
Now I'm starting to see how this is like you and Leon.
Yeah. This guy.
That's about 2 blocks.
This guy calls his girlfriend after fucking some other girl and questions his life.
Well, it's not. And that's a very smart part of the movie. Like I said, they're taking a break. But again, it's the dynamic of, hey, here's a guy who can't wait to get home. Rob Brydon can't wait to get home to his family. And Steve Coogan is like, I'm still unsure what I'm going to do, and I'm just going to hit on everything that comes my way and use what celebrity I have right now to actually to what advantage I can.
So it's sort of so you throw in some elements of Sideways.
Well, don't try to compare it. Really, it's just. I mean,
you're saying a bunch of things where you go it's kind of like this. It's kind of like Curb Your Enthusiasm, except it's not really funny.
The humor is
it's sort of like Sideways with the road trip and the one guy hitting on women, but they don't really do a lot of that.
The humor here really is sort of something like a Tabor, Curb Your Enthusiasm. And when I was watching this, I was thinking, I'm enjoying bits and pieces of this, but as a film, it's losing me in certain spots. It picks back up here and loses me again. Come to find out that this is actually compiled from a television show. It's like a
really?
It's a 6-part miniseries.
Oh.
And I guess there's who knows how many hours of footage. Where because at first I thought, like, I was reading about this and I thought, okay, this is based on the TV show, and I guess the TV show was based on the movie because somewhere the movie was just that successful and people like seeing these guys travel. No, they took the TV show. And who knows how many hours of footage? Like, I can only guess that every episode was probably 40 minutes to an hour, and edited it down to like a 2-hour film. And I was thinking to myself when I was watching this film, without knowing that, I was like, I would like to watch this on television more than I would like to watch this as a film. For people who enjoy these guys and enjoy this kind of, like, I guess, modest conversation, knock yourself out. That's cool. I mean, I'm sitting up there thinking, like, let me the fuck out this car.
If you like this kind of dumb shit, go for it.
I kind of like what those guys do in the first place. Like, Steve Coogan is an acquired taste. And I've seen a lot of his stuff, and people go, oh, it's okay if you didn't like that, because you got to watch this. And then I do, and I'm like, it wasn't funny. And they're like, what? You didn't like that? Well, you know what? That's okay, because he has done so much stuff, and he's got this huge fan base. And I don't know why. I still can't figure out what the Coogan appeal is.
I do. I mean, it's because the whole thing is a very dry sense of humor, except for the part where they're doing imitations and offbeat humor like that. It's very dry. I mean, like I say, a lot of it relies on observation and conversation.
Did you laugh at all during that?
I did. No, I did. Listen, this
Doesn't
is
sound like it.
What? No, I did. There's certain parts where you can't help but laugh. I mean, when they're doing their Michael Caine impressions, you're laughing. And then
Michael Caine, for our English comedians, by the way, is their Jack Nicholson. It's the one they can all do.
And and even to hear them, I mean, they do it spot on, and both of them have a different version, and it's incredible to hear that because they're both right, But and they get into an argument as Michael Caine, like they start to like say, let me. I can't do Michael Caine, but like, let me finish. It's like, even when they're arguing, they're still in character. It's
there was a point in Michael Caine's career that I'm surprised he didn't do a movie where he played every role on it.
The voice.
You're panicking.
Because you look like you're about to bloody talk. Let me finish. Right, so, Michael Caine's voice now in the Batman movies and in Harry Brown. I can't go fast because Michael Caine talks very, very slowly.
Right, this is how Michael Caine speaks. Michael Caine speaks to his nose like that. He gets very, very specific. It's very like that. When he gets loudly, it gets very loud indeed. It gets very specific. It's not quite nasal enough the way you're doing it, all right? You're not doing it the way he speaks. You're not doing it with the kind of... And you don't do the broken voice when he gets very emotional. When he gets very emotional indeed. She was only 16 years old. She was only 16. You're only supposed to blow the bloody doors off. That's Michael Caine.
You remember that in the 80s when he's like every other movie that came out, Michael Caine was going to be in it somewhere. The summer that Jaws the Revenge came out with him in it, and you're like, wow, this is only the 30th movie this year with Michael Caine.
That was the summer that Michael Caine bought like 10 houses and didn't know how he was going to pay for them.
So he did everything he could, which Jaws, with Jaws 5 or whatever it was, he's written a book where he was like, I did that movie only because of the location, and that was vacation for me, period. I didn't even know what the fuck was going on in that movie set. I was just there to soak in the scenery, and that is it.
You were
and
right
that's when
about
he became
that.
my hero.
He's kind of like, shit, fuck you. I was still on the beach, and I got paid.
Yeah, that's it.
And you know what? I'm on work after this.
That's
Are
right.
you?
I will be okay.
Yeah, shit. I was having tequila with that shark. But and it's even funny to see these guys because there's a part in this movie where you can't even tell if they're being serious or not. Like they try to Rob Brydon tries to do an Al Pacino impression, and it is fucking horrible. And you can't tell if the filmmakers or him are like thinking, oh, he's doing great. The audience is going to find this funny. I'm sitting there thinking, this is the worst Al Pacino impression I've ever. He's pretty much barking. I was just like, you gotta burn it.
That's kind of what Pacino does.
You're doing.
Oh, thank you.
He was doing a cross between like a pit bull and Hugh Grant. I was like, that is not Al Pacino, man. I'm sorry. It's directed by Michael Winterbottom, and Michael Winterbottom is somebody that is hit or miss with me anyway. Yeah. One of his least successful films is actually one of my favorite films from him, 9 Songs. And the girlfriend that's in this movie, Misha, an actress named Margot Stilley, she was the female lead in 9 Songs, so you got to see her naked.
Oh, I haven't seen that. Did he do 24-hour Party People?
He did
too?
24-hour Party People.
I like that a lot.
Yeah, I did too. But this it's funny because what's the movie Tristan Shandy, A Cock and Bull Story?
Yeah, I've heard that's good, but I haven't seen it.
wasn't a big fan of that. And what Steve Coogan and Rob Brydon are doing here are extension of themselves from that film.
Right.
So it's again, if you like that film, maybe you'll like this. It won a lot of awards in Britain, and let me just put it this way: I'm more interested in watching the television series now than I am in this movie. If I'd seen this at home though, it would have been entertaining. It would have been interesting. It reminds me of something seriously. I can see this being aired in about a year on Great Performances on PBS for free.
Jesus Christ.
I will never see that.
I gotta be honest. Throughout this review, you'll say one thing that has me interested, and you follow up with something that makes me go like, "No thanks."
Listen, most of my problems with this film come from a pacing standpoint. There are just some stops that these two guys make that I thought could have been edited out the film and made the film a little bit shorter. Had they done that, I think I would have enjoyed the movie a lot more. But as it stands right now, I would not only have any regrets about watching this streaming or on DVD, but I would actually enjoy it. So yeah, I do recommend it as a very strong rental. You in the comfort of your own home, there's going to be some parts where you're going to turn away, want to go to the kitchen and get something, go take a piss, and you're not going to really miss all that much.
So get a tape recorder and speak into it. When you play it back, if the person talking has a British accent, then you should go see it. Otherwise, stay at home.
Or better yet, call that friend that you don't like, go pick them up and live the movie for about 5 minutes because you can tell them to get the fuck out after a while.
Those specific people you're talking about are those critics and actors that may appreciate this?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you read every critic review on this, and it is sort of that thing of
fucking glowing.
Well, this critic said it was okay, so I definitely have to say it's okay.
Tour de force!
Tour de force!
I called you 4 times last night.
I'm with a short Welsh man who does impressions. It's not fun.
Have you been doing drugs?
Sex between 2 people is a wonderful thing. Between 3, it's terrific.
Pithy, vaguely amusing, a cry for help.
If you were to allow your child to have an illness, you could win Oscar Best Actor.
That's disgusting.
What
kind of illness?
I want a room with a view. I want to see a tree.
I'd like a vodka martini, shaken, not stroked.
She was only 16 years old.
I directed the whole movie.
Oh!
How's the trip been?
I can honestly say it's one of the most enjoyable periods of my life.